morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Conversations with Natalie. I'm really excited to be bringing you my guest today. Now, conversations are powerful. Conversations are a way that we connect with others. Conversations are about learning and sharing. And this is what Conversations with Natalie is all about. It's about sharing those nuggets of gold, sharing those nuggets of wisdom and knowledge, and showcasing fellow business owners, their experiences, their knowledge, their wisdom that they want to impart on this channel. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So today I am excited to have Jenny Jarvis. So she's a coach and an NLP practitioner. Today we're going to talk money, money. Oh, love money. But it's not so much about money. It's about how money can have an impact. And of course, Jenny works with and she helps to coach people through going through divorce or separation. And money can play a really big impact with that. So she has a story, and I'm sure she will be willing to share it. Put her on the spot. I love it. But welcome, Jenny. Welcome to Natalie King Coaching YouTube channel. And we're going to talk money, but we're not only going to talk money. There's going to be more to it. So explain a little bit about who you are, what you do, that sort of stuff.
Hi, Natalie. It's lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting me. So money, it was great when you said money, and it's money. We love money. And actually the fact is that money does make the world go round, and lots of people don't like that. And I was one of those people. So I stressed about money. I don't remember a time when I didn't stress about money. Before I started my coaching career, I would do lots of things for free. And I say I was a career volunteer. It was like I made a profession out of being volunteer. So I'd give away my time. I was on every committee going. And even if I was working for people, I did an arts and crafts business for a while, but I really hated charging people. And it was terrible. So money can really come into your business. It can come into your personal life. I mean, most divorces actually stem, statistically, the percentages are huge for divorces coming from money issues. And so having that discomfort around money my whole life I didn't know how stressful it was and how impactful it was. And then when I went to start my business, I thought, this is no good. I have to charge people. I need to live. I need to pay the bills. I need to, have a lifestyle that I want to have. And I can't do that if I've got all this stress around money. So before I even set my business, the first thing I did was employ my own coach and got her to work through my money mindset. And we label money, don't we? We label it as something that's mean or nasty or dirty. And, we've got all these negative words around money.
So these are all like the limiting beliefs that we have around money, aren't they? We sort of gather them from childhood and carry them like we got to hang on to them for dear life.
Well, were you ever told that money doesn't grow on trees?
I was told that, and I was also told my mother wasn't a bank. I'm not a bank.
Yeah, all of these things. So we've been told about things. It's count the pennies and the pounds look after themselves. And the fact is, if you count pennies, you get pennies. And so we start looking at the things that we were told, all these phrases that we're told growing up about money and being cautious around money. And if we've got parents or grandparents who have lost money, who have made money, it all impacts our life, and it comes down through the generations. So when I was working with my coach, she went, oh, I wonder if you'll do money mindset work at some point. And I was like, oh, yeah. It was like, maybe I will. Didn't really think much of it. It was just kind of there.
One of the interesting things that I've been told, and I'm noticing it more and more, is we teach what we need to learn. So It's interesting how you got into starting to teach about money and money mindset, and how you doing it to help with your clients.
I've come across those blocks. I've done them. I've moved on. My energy around it shifted. So it's a good time for me now to help other people to do the things that I've done in the last few years, which, not having to worry about money every time you go to tap your card and you think, oh God, I don't know what's in my bank. How many of us out there don't check our statements? That was me. How many people don't know how much they've got in the bank when they go to pay for something? I never did. How many people don't know how much they actually earn on a monthly basis? Lots of people, they don't check their money, they don't discuss it with their partners, and they just feel a lot of anxiety around it. And as you said, I'm much as I deal with confidence and communication in my coaching, it's geared towards people really who have gone through divorce or separation. So they're through the other side, but now they're going, I don't really know what to do with life. And they've still got all those anxieties from that massive change. And they've got to build a new life that wasn't the one they imagined. Because mostly when we get married, we expect that we're going to be with that person forever. And all of a sudden our future looks different. So knowing what that future is can be really difficult. And a small part of that is around money, really.
So one thing is, and I come across this, but this is more from a confidence side. So it'd be interesting to get it from your perspective, is people undercharging for their services. Now, I know you became like a professional business volunteer, but undercharging for your services. So as I mentioned, I work with this as a confidence, as having the confidence to increase your prices or having the confidence to charge what you are worth. Could this also be a money mindset that my clients are having on? Interesting.
It absolutely all stems from that, because our confidence around money is really based on our beliefs and values, which are, as we've discussed just a few minutes ago, they're based on our upbringing. So it's all our money stories that have been going in through years and years and years and years and building up and building up and building up. And all of these experiences will help us to be either confident or not confident. It's about the feeling, isn't it? About how do you feel when you say to your client, I charge this? And for me at the beginning, that was really horrendous, which is why I got coaching, because I felt so awful just saying the price. And if you can't say a price to your client confidently, how do you think your client feels about that? It's we have to feel confident, as you say, but it's all of those other things. That's the confidence is almost the last bit, getting rid of the other blocks, because it's so ingrained in every single person and every walk of life. And it doesn't matter whether you've got millions in the bank, it doesn't matter whether you're sort of in the middle range or whether you've got nothing in the bank, it all affects us. I know multimillionaires who are constantly afraid of losing their money. So they don't live life, they don't do anything with it because they might lose it.
And of course, we've just gone through, lockdown and furloughs and retrenchments and losing jobs and companies and businesses folding. And there's almost this scarcity, this fear that there's no money in the world. But there is money in the world. Money hasn't shrunk. It's just our idea of it, or our mindset on it has had a massive impact. Because I know, especially last year in 2021 and coming towards the end of 2020, there was very much this scarcity. We've got to hang on to every little penny, dig down the side of the cut. Oh, I got a penny, don't spend it, I got to keep it. And there was this fear around money.
Yeah. I think that's been going on for a very long time, but it certainly is being exacerbated at the moment, particularly. I've heard lots of people who I know have lots of money and income flowing who say, well, there's no money. I'm like, well, you have money. So if you have money, other people have money. It's just distributed differently at the moment. And there are people that are genuinely really struggling, and that they have a genuine thing around money. They don't have it to pay the food, the bills, the basics. And then there are people who don't have it to pay for the holidays that they were going on, or all the other stuff that they had in addition. And then there are the people that have still got the money anyway, but maybe they're going, oh, well, what if I don't have that? Or what if it gets so bad? Or what if, the government takes this off me? Or, all of those things come into it as well. So it doesn't really matter where you are on the money scale. It's that we all have a mindset around it. And a lot of it, not everybody, some people have really positive role models around money and they've got really positive thoughts around money, but lots and lots and lots of people don't. And even the people that say, I've got no problem with money, and we'll start talking about money, and I'm going, really? Oh, okay. You say so, that's good. That's a phrase my mum used to use, and it drove me crazy, if you say so. But when people think that because they calculate their money and because they know what's coming in and because they know what's going out and that they're very careful with money, that means that they're good with money and therefore their money mindset is good. And that's not always the case. It's about how you feel about it. Are you checking that every single thing because you feel anxious that if you don't, it'll all go wrong? And so money mindset for me is about not feeling those big feelings around money, and money just being a tool for you to use to live whatever life you want to choose to live.
Well, somebody once said on a course that I was doing, we were talking about money, and there was an aspect of money and money mindset, and she was very much talking about the flow of money and the energy of money. And I actually think this was in sort of the middle of 2020, when all this real fear and scarcity was starting to manifest itself in a big way. And she was talking about money, and she said, money has energy, it flows. And that got me thinking, okay, hang on a minute, what do you mean? Money is just a piece of paper or nickel and, copper or whatever it's made of. But when she started to explain it, I was like, this is really interesting, because yes, when money flows out, it will flow back in. But what was happening, especially in 2020, is people were sitting on their money, literally sitting on their money. They weren't spending money because there was this fear that there's no more money. And it was almost like creating a dam. If you've got a river that's flowing beautifully, and then you create a dam, it just sits there. It doesn't go anywhere. And then it dries up elsewhere. And I just thought, wow, I love this. So it's given me a different perspective on money. That it's a more of an energy entity as opposed to paper and plastic and whatever else.
The paper and the plastic is just a physical thing that we can hand over. And if you think about it now, most of the time it's not even a physical thing anymore. It's just numbers going between bank accounts through the ether. So it's not even necessarily a physical thing anymore. Quite often it's not. We tap our cards now. We don't even put it in the machine anymore unless you've got to put your pin in because you've done it too often. So it's not even a physical thing anymore. But historically, really, coins, paper money, all that is a token that says, here's my energy. Here's how much of my energy I'm going to give to you or you're going to give to me, and you hand it over. That's what it is. And that's why when people do volunteer an awful lot, they have to get something back in exchange energetically if it's not a financial thing, because otherwise we just deplete ourselves, and that's when we get to burnout. So people who don't charge often do get to burnout because, and I was doing this myself, because the exchange isn't there. So there still has to be an exchange of some form if you don't get your head around your money.
So I like the way that you describe, money, literally just plonking your card on a machine and there's numbers. You almost get this vision of numbers just flowing through the ether and everything else. But when you've got that, how do we create the energy of money? Then it's nice when you had something to touch and you literally just passing it over and somebody's receiving it. It has a different energy, whereas now you just plonk your card on a machine and that's it. It's almost lost that flow feeling, that energy flow. How can we start to utilize the money and the energy when we're not really touching it and having that energy?
Well, one of the things that I was reading in a book recently was, and it was really interesting to me actually, about the thing to do with energy. And if you're not feeling abundant about money, and you're not feeling like you've got money coming in, and you're always lacking in money, that they were saying, write down every single thing that goes into your account, everything. Or if like if your mum gives you £20 for your birthday, or £10 comes from here, write it all down. So every single thing that you comes in, you write it down. That gives you a positive energy flow, really, because you can see it. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think we spend a lot of time looking at what's going out of our accounts and focusing on what's going out, and not focusing on what's coming in. And so I think if you can focus on stuff coming in and writing it down and really taking a note of it, it does stop that ignoring the kind of it's not there thing. And checking accounts can be really traumatic for people. I know it certainly was for me. And now the times when I go, oh gosh, I don't want to check my account. I go, come on, Jenny, do it right now. And because it's on our phone, we don't even have to log into a computer anymore. You can do it right then. So as soon as you get that feeling of, I don't want to do it, I found that just doing it is always better. Like, as soon as you've done it, it might not, the fact that you're ignoring it does not change the fact of what is in there. So not knowing what is in there does not change what is in there. And this, I talk about, I don't know if you do this, we talk about this in coaching. Ignoring the things that you're ignoring doesn't change them. It just, they're still there, you're just ignoring them. So when we look at the reality side of goal setting, there's no point in ignoring things. If we can get into a coaching environment and challenge those things and talk about them, they become a lot more easy and a lot more flow. That flow happens because you're not ignoring it. So I think that is something like taking note of everything. And if it's a case of taking note of the things going out is too much, like that's too stressful, it lowers your energy levels, then just note what's coming in so you can focus on that.
It's about being aware, isn't it? Aware of what, like you said, what's going in. Whereas if you just ignoring it, it almost becomes this big dark thing that's sitting there. But if you know, it can also be reassuring because it might be more than you expected, or it's not as scary as you might have thought, or it's that unknowing, isn't it, that just builds up and builds up. So one question that I wanted to ask you, and I know that we've had this conversation when we spoke before, but is there a difference between introverts or extroverts when it comes to money? Or is it more of a type of, not a type of person, but more of an upbringing as opposed to introversion or extroversion?
I think it is probably, and this is just an opinion, I haven't done a lot of research, but I think a lot of introverts, so a lot of my clients are introverts. I am an introvert, actually, and I only learned that, I was telling you before, I only learned that a couple of years ago, really, that I was an introvert, because I always thought I was extrovert. I like people, I'm quite confident, I'm happy in this situation. But actually, when I'm in large groups of people, my energy really depletes. But what I've noticed is a lot of my clients in fact, nearly all of my clients that come to me are introverts. And so they tend to have more awareness of what's coming in and what's going out. But that doesn't mean to say that the energy around the money and how they feel about it is different. So you might find the extroverts may well go out, and because they're wanting to be everybody's friend, and they may be doing more social stuff, so maybe the money flow might be more, but it might not be. It might be that they're just more vocal about it and open about it. It doesn't mean to say the energy around it is different. So a lot of this is about the way we feel about it, whatever we're doing with it. So I think that it might visually look like they're more in control, the introverts, because they're quieter about it. And, like the extroverts are probably a lot louder about things, but it doesn't mean that the energy and the thoughts around the feelings around money are different between the two.
That's quite interesting, because introversion and extroversion is something that I only learned about and realized 2 years ago during lockdown. Yes. And it's lockdown, I think, taught a lot of people a lot of different things, and I'm trying to learn more about it. I'm trying to learn more about introversion because that is what I am. That's where I sit comfortably. But I also like to learn more about extroversion. So it's interesting how, like you said, most probably the introverts must be more knowing what's going on, but it doesn't mean that they are better with money or more comfortable or have more of a money flow feeling towards money. So as sort of business owners, what tips can you share, or what sort of nuggets of gold, that's what I like to call it. I like to call them nuggets of gold or nuggets of wisdom. Can you share with regards to either changing the money mindset or starting to be aware that you have a money mindset? Because I think that's probably the first step, is know what you think about money and how you feel about money.
And a lot of that is about noticing. So it's noticing what you notice. If you feel I've got a great money mindset, next time you spend money, see how you feel about it. And it might be that you don't care at all. And it could be that you're willing to give money to anybody and everybody. And that might feel to you like a really relaxed way, money mindset, but actually you've not got enough money in your account to live and pay your bills. But you're quite free and easy with it and you feel okay with it. But actually the bills aren't being paid. Or it could be that you're really cautious with money, and every time you spend something, you have to document it and you have to be really worried about it. And some of the words that people choose, their association with money words, is really surprising. And you think, oh, really? One of them was ease. And you wouldn't think that would be a negative word, but it was. And sometimes if people don't come up with words also, I say, well, how do you feel about just the word money? And sometimes there's a real block with that. So definitely write down your list of money association words. Write down all those phrases that we talked about earlier that you were told as a child. Money doesn't go on trees, those kind of things. Think back and think, well, what was I told as a child? What were my phrases? And write those phrases down, because you can get a really good view of, would that have been a helpful phrase for me to have heard, or has that caused some sort of block? Do you think rich people are mean? Do you think rich people are a certain personality type? All rich people are out for themselves. All rich people are money grabbing. So if you have those, you have a money mindset issue. It's that sort of thing. So notice what your thoughts are around money, write it down, look at it and go, does that feel healthy? How do you feel when you tap your card? As a business owner, how many invoices have you got backlogged? How much money do people owe you? Do you know how much people owe you? Because if you don't know how much people owe you, you have a money mindset issue. You need to deal with that. If you've got backlogs for going on for months and months and months, and you're not addressing it, that's a money mindset block.
That's quite interesting, because I know quite a few business owners who have, not having their invoices paid. Could it be so this is where I start to think, so could it be that it's their money mindset, or could it be that it's the business owner who owes them money, their money mindset?
It's likely to be both. There is definitely, so I know people who have money mindset things going on, and I know the business owner that doesn't, and they're not paying the invoice. But actually, if the business owner is secure in asking for that money, the money comes. It's when the business owner is not secure in asking for that money, it allows the other person who has the money mindset issue, the other business owner, it allows them to procrastinate. It allows them to have their money mindset story going on at their end, and they don't have to deal with it because the money mindset story going on at this end isn't challenging it. And it's not about being mean or, being like having the bailiffs come along, and it's not about that. It's about acknowledging your energy around it. Do you feel resentful that that business hasn't paid you? If you do, there's some energy around that. It causes issues for you.
And I guess as if you're a parent, business owner who's a parent, what are you telling your kids around money? Are you using the same ones that money doesn't grow on trees, I'm not a bank, or I mean, those were the two main ones that I was be grateful for what we have. We're not starving. You got a roof over your head. There's starving people in Africa. This is what happens when you grow up in Africa. There's starving people around the corner. It's not just in Africa, in the village down the road. It's like, okay, I don't understand this concept. I'm a kid. But it's so if you're a parent.
Because I've done that to my kids so many times, and now I'm doing these workshops. I'm like, oh geez, Jenny, you can't say that anymore. I'm really having to pull myself up and say, what am I teaching them if I say that? And it's got quite a hard balance as a parent, actually, to work out what the right thing is, because you don't want them, it's where the balance is. You don't want them overly cautious or overly spending, or you've
got to give them the right money mindset so that they understand the flow and everything. So it's a challenge as a parent. So that's one challenge I don't have to deal with, because I have fur babies. They're not interested in money. They just want to know that there's food in their cupboard. That's all they're interested in.
I had a brilliant conversation with my 15-year-old the other day. I said to her, what do you think about money? She says, I think the government should give every 18-year-old a new house. And I said, oh, that's interesting. So how does the government pay for that? She went, the government money. I was like, and where does that come from? I don't know. So, well, it comes from us. We pay for it. She went, oh, okay, so, well, how about if the government gave everybody £10,000 when they turn 18? I was like, okay, who pays for that? She was like, oh, Mum, this is so boring. But these are the things that they're not taught in school, actually. That when you leave school, the money that's in the government pot does not come from some magical rainbow. It comes from us. And the day that my partner said to my daughter, well, when you start earning money and you're over 18, you're going to have to pay tax. She was like, what's tax? He explained to her what tax was. She was horrified that anyone was ever going to take her money. But it's about getting those things in place. And I always say to my children, you can earn however much money you choose to earn. You have to put the effort in to do certain things. And that's not about working hard, because there's this whole thing now at the moment about working hard versus working smart and all the rest of it. So that's a whole other conversation. But it's not about that, but it is about being aware that it doesn't just fall out of the sky. You have to create it, and you can create however much of it you want, but it is up to you to be creating.
One thing I wanted to ask you about, and we did touch on this, the introversion and the extroversion bits around money, but I'd love for you to share, as an introvert who loves people and socializing, how do you find that running your business, and how do you bring your introversion into the way that you do things?
Yeah, it's a really weird thing, because I discovered, I guess, or noticed I was an introvert when I was doing my diploma, and I went along and there were 120 people in the room. And by lunchtime, I was exhausted and I wanted to be on my own, nowhere near the other 120 people. And I'd go for a walk on my own, and I'd get back after the weekend and I'd say to my mum and dad, gosh, I'm exhausted. I'm really struggling with all these people. And they're like, what are you talking about? You're really good with people. You like people. I was like, yeah, I know. And I felt really kind of difficult about it for quite a while. I really felt difficult about it. And then I noticed somebody who wanted to go to this party and that night, and then that one night, and then that night. And by the third night, I was like, really, I need to stay in. I just can't be doing this. So it was a real conflict for me, because I'd always seen myself as more extrovert, and having this notice, I was like, what's this about? This is a bit weird. And also being visible on social media. So my first lives took me 6 months to build up to doing a live. I eventually went, right, okay, Jenny, you have to get a grip of this. Just do 30 seconds. So I went into my Facebook group and I went live for 30 seconds. And then I was like, a few days later, just a minute this time, do a minute. So I did a minute, and I built it up over time. And now I go live all the time, and it's really easy. But when people come on, I'm like, oh gosh, somebody's on, I'm going to have to say that to them. And it's that. So it's just about, for me, pushing past those things and doing little steps. So it's like with coaching, it's all about the little steps and breaking a big thing like a live down into a 30 seconds and then a minute, and then wait until someone comes on, saying hello, and then scarpering really quickly. And then, you know, so it's those things building up for me in little steps. So as introverts, we like things sometimes a bit smaller and smaller chunks with people, and then we can build them up. So I've had a peoply day today. This morning we were up at 5 o'clock this morning to do our business breakfast, which I have organised locally to get all our local businesses together talking. And then I had a client straight after, and then I knew I was coming on this, so I had to go for a nap, because I thought, if I don't, I'm not going to bring my best self to this, because I was just so exhausted from speaking to all these people all day. So for me, it's a lot about now noticing and going, okay, I just need to sleep for 15-20 minutes to get my energy levels back up so that I can show up for my clients. And it is about that. It's keeping your energy, noticing it, reserving it, knowing what you need. When me and my partner started dating, I turned up on our first date. We met online with 40 dating questions, which was quite a lot of pressure for him. But one of the questions was, how much time do you need alone versus how much time would you like with me? And I like to be with my partner a lot. So even though I'm introvert, for me, introversion is me and my partner. But I needed to know from him. I didn't know, he could have been an extrovert, and that could mean anything. So we had that whole conversation about it. It was really helpful to know what each other needed with regards to energy, replenishing, and space and time. And it was really beneficial.
And that's a really useful tip, is whether you're in business with people or you are in a relationship, to find out how much time you need. I love that you actually asked. My husband's also an introvert, so we both introverts, and we would quite happily on a Sunday, he's pottering around in the garden or downstairs, I sit upstairs, and I think I've seen him in the morning. I might every now and again get bellowing up the stairs, you want a cup of tea? But we are totally separate from each other, and then we sort of come together in the evening, and we're quite happy when he gets this oh, hang on, I'm a little bit lonely. He then comes and has a quick chat with me or a quick conversation, and then he goes again, and he's then happy doing his own thing. And I think we sort of worked this out through living together. It hasn't been planned or anything. But the way that you said that you had to have a nap to have your full energy, it's finding what works for you as an introvert to run your business.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of introverts will, and I do this sometimes, I don't always give myself time between tasks or between Zoom calls, and sometimes it would be like, off the Zoom, on the next Zoom, off the Zoom, on the next Zoom. And then I'm like wondering why I'm gibbering idiots at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's like, oh, okay, hang on. I didn't give myself that time between people, even though it's all online, it's still people. They're still using up the energy.
Yeah.
So I love how you know that you are able to create that, whether it's a nap time or sitting on a chair reading or going for a walk, it doesn't matter what it is. It's just that introversion time. It's allowing the introvert to be in control for a little bit and just go, no more people, no more energy. So I really appreciate you spending this time with me and sharing your energy and sharing your knowledge. But before I let you go, I always like to ask if somebody has a last little bit of information or a last little nugget they would like to share. So whether it's around introversion or around money, do you have any sort of a last thought or an idea or a gold nugget that you can share?
Now you know about money mindset. So you, Natalie, obviously talk about it a lot, but anybody out there that knows about money mindset and notices it, there are lots of things out there now to help. So there are my workshop is awesome. It's online. There are workshops, not just mine. There's lots of workshops out there, but go and do some reading, go and find out about it, because if you can change your money mindset and get that working for you, that can only benefit you. So that's the one thing I would say is I would never have thought before I started this business of doing it. It was only through my coaching training and everything that I came up and I went, I need to sort this out. So I was aware because I had to sort it out and had to run a business. But I wouldn't have done that before. I spent sort of 30 odd years with that stress. And so I would go and find somewhere that suits you. You can find out, my details are all on my website, but there's other places that do it. There's books about money mindset. There's millions of books about money mindset these days. So go and do some research. That's what I would say, is don't ignore it. Go and do something.
Thank you. And the link for Jenny's website will be down in the comments, and, you know, go look at all the workshops that she's offering. So thank you so much for sharing your time. And that is some good advice, is to start to shift or understand or learn about the money mindset that you've got now. And is it limiting you? Is it getting in your way? And what can you do to shift it? And one of the things you can do is talk to somebody like Jenny. So thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing and seeing your journey beyond this and where life will take you.
And you, Natalie, it's been great. Thank you for inviting me along. And I know we'll stay in touch. Yeah, it was great. And as I always say at the end of everything I do, remember, everyone, to have a really powerful day.
I like that. Have a powerful day. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you got some nuggets, some knowledge and some wisdom from it. Please do like and share this video, and also subscribe to the channel.